Some days you want to play your favorite game, but don't really want to compete in your favorite game. It could be Counter-Strike, Valorant, League of Legends, pretty much any game that has a general competitive setting that requires you to put your skills to the test in every single match you join. And then over hundreds or sometimes even thousands of hours within the game, you've accrued quite a bit of skill, putting you above just any player. But sometimes many of us just couldn't be bothered to play at the level we belong at. I mean, I didn't grind all these hours and refine my skills and understanding of the game just to be placed with better players who match me in skill, and therefore caused me to struggle every single match as if it were my first few hours. Sometimes you just want a reminder of just how good you've gotten since the first time you opened up the game. Something to show you that, yeah, you really are that good. Now, how exactly is this accomplished? Well, usually by making or obtaining an account which pretends to be for a low-level player and hopping into a match and typically utterly obliterating worse players. Doesn't sound so bad, right? Wrong. And let me show you exactly why. So to preface this video, I have smurfed in games before. A few times. Not too many times, not like I enjoy spending every Saturday evening bullying kids into breaking their dad's monitors or anything, but still I've had my fair share of occurrences with posing as Fernando.Enrique.2004, who just installed yesterday. And I had my reasons for doing so, or so I thought, and because of my far more mature self, who recognizes the flaws in my previous logic behind wanting to smurf, I just knew I had to educate others on my findings. Because smurfing is a bigger issue than just pub stomping for a few hours and then going back to regularly scheduled programming. It doesn't just hurt those getting stomped, but also the stompee. Stompy? Stampy? You get what I mean, the guy going 24-2. In this video, I'll be showing you exactly why smurfing is the wrong answer and will only ever lead you to become worse as a player, a person, and a humanitarian. That last bit was a lie, but whatever, we're moving on. So the reason you're here smurfing in the first place is because you're pretty good at the game and want to flex your skills on your dumbfounded teammates and irritated opponents. It feels pretty awesome to be able to play in whatever kind of playstyle I wish in whatever scenario, no matter how stupid it might be, just because you know you have the ability to outskill your opponents no matter the situation. But say goodbye to that feeling. Playing against worse players will only make you emulate their gameplay, and by doing so will make you worse as well. You might think it doesn't hurt to play against worse players, but your brain doesn't really care what you think, and will subconsciously build muscle memory no matter the level you're playing at. Here, let me give you an example. Say we're playing Counter-Strike and you're a global elite player who decides he just wants to have some fun against some silver players. At your rank, you know you can't just push mid or else you'll get caught out immediately, or you can't just throw an obvious flashbang that the enemies can see because they'll just look away and negate the effect. But when you're on your smurf and you're playing against silvers, all that information is effectively useless. I mean, most of these players don't have the understanding to recognize flashbangs as fast or watch enemies pushing out of mid, and that's kind of the reason you play against them. Because when you're playing against silvers, you can pretty much play however you like, and because you have the aim skill and game sense, you're going to come out on top. Play like a boring old global elite who uses smart positioning to protect himself from being shot from multiple angles. Why do that when you can watch 3 angles at once? I mean, once a silver peeks out, it's going to take them a couple minutes before they hit their first shot anyway. And that kind of mindset isn't all too damaging while playing with silvers, aside from the odd time that the enemies get an accidental headshot, but will come back to bite you once you hop back into global elite matchmaking. At the conscious level, you fully well understand that the dumb positioning and choices you made at silver will not pan out well at the global elite level, so obviously you're not going to consciously do them. On the other hand though, subconsciously you are building muscle memory every single time you play, no matter the level you play at, and the next time you're forced to choose among multiple positions, your instincts will be dulled and it may take you longer to make the right decision. Obviously this won't have a recognizable effect after you smurf for a single match, but the more you make it a habit, the more it'll be ingrained into your gameplay. Another example. Patience is one of the most integral parts of being a high-level player in the vast majority of competitive games, and playing at low levels entirely disregards this skill because you know you don't have to be patient and wait for the right opportunity to get a successful strike. When smurfing, you're going to be more eager to hop into situations where you may have the disadvantage, and this kind of mindset will leak into your higher level play. It might not be readily obvious, but the effect will certainly erode your abilities until you become just another player with good aim but bad game sense. In fact, I think it's quite ironic that people leave their main accounts because they'd rather completely destroy worse enemies, when smurfing will cause them to get completely stomped themselves once they sign back into their main rank. If your purpose of smurfing is to get the chance to easily destroy your opponents, the same exact treatment will come right back to you. Another big reason a lot of people like to bring up for smurfing is the fact that in their current rank they actually play terribly, like they just came back to the game after maybe weeks or months of not playing and haven't retained all of their skill, and because of this they don't match up to the rank and must smurf instead. To this, all I really have to say is you probably care too much about your rank, and being willing to drop a few ranks will not only be good for you because you'll be able to play with people at your skill level, but also good to just allow you to have more fun every once in a while. I mean, that's kind of the reason for smurfing in the first place, right? I myself used to be super concerned about having a high rank in games like it actually means something to anyone, but in reality, no one cares except yourself. And take it from me, you're way better off playing at a rank where you can actually enjoy yourself and compete properly, instead of having to spend weeks on another account to warm up for matches like they have some sort of grand prize to them. It seems like I'm losing a little bit of focus on this point, but pretty much just realize that if you don't appear to play well at your rank, don't be tempted to smurf. Just be willing to take a few losses in the bank for the sake of both your sanity and your blood pressure. You probably hate cheaters, right? I mean, I think pretty much everybody hates cheaters to an extent. I mean, all they do is ruin the game for people just trying to have fun by giving themselves an unnecessary advantage that they don't even deserve and ruining the experience for typically 9 other people for 30 minutes to an hour. If you didn't catch where this bit is going already, I'm gonna compare smurfing to cheating, because they are really similar, like pretty much indistinguishable in effect in most scenarios. Yes, you could say that a smurf isn't actually using external assistance to make the game unfair for the people he's playing against, but in pretty much every single other way, he is just as big of a problem. Both a smurf and a cheater absolutely carry matches, which makes it both unfair and unfun for the enemy, but also unsatisfying and undeserved for the people they're carrying to victory. If you have an insane smurf on your team who's absolutely destroying the opposite team, you may think it's cool to have him on your team as he will give you a free win, but all that ends up doing is setting you up to be placed in a potentially higher rank or put you against higher level players, which you don't deserve to face and which will incidentally lead you to not do too well against said players, because obviously you didn't deserve to go higher up in rank. The point is, for everyone involved in a match with a smurf, no matter if they think it's cool that they got an easy carry or a free win, will all be hurt in some way or another by that person simply making the choice to play on that account. It's pretty hypocritical to hate on cheaters for the injustice they do in the gaming community, while you're contributing just as bad an effect if you regularly smurf below your rank. And again, you're hurting the experience of likely 9 other players for the short-lived enjoyment you get out of demolishing noobs. That sounds pretty selfish to me, and that's coming from the guy that insta-locks Reyna every match in Valorant. Nice. The point here is, the effect you have on the match is just as bad as that of a cheater, and it's pretty unsportsmanlike to ruin the experience for a bunch of other people who are just looking to enjoy a few matches in their favorite game just like you. In closing, choosing to smurf for a few matches doesn't exactly mean you're the scum of the earth, but you're pretty damn close. Jokes aside though, I understand using another account if you absolutely have to in order to be able to queue up with friends at a rank far below you, but even then, try to be conscious of the choices you make so they don't seep into your traditional gameplay. Also, if you are playing against players you can see that are clearly much less skilled than you, then maybe try using a handicap to keep it fair. Personally, when I queue with my friends in CSGO, I'm forced to use a secondary account as they all reside in the silver ranks, but while I'm there, I make a handicap for myself, which is pretty much that I can only purchase and use pistols the entire match, which keeps it fair for the other team, and even then, it is pretty good practice using such weapons that I don't tend to use as often. It keeps the game more fair for everyone, and even then, I tend to do pretty well with what I'm left with. In summary, just think twice before you go in your smurf to drop 40 bombs on innocent people, because not only will it ruin the experience for everyone else, but it will subconsciously transform your game sense into that of a caveman who just discovered how to use spears. Well, maybe not that far back, but anything past the Middle Ages would be giving you too much credit. Share this video with any smurfs you may know in order to improve the condition of the gaming community, and thanks for watching. That's the end of the video, now go do something else. Maybe subscribe, play a game of cards with the family, pick up a new skill, try learning a backflip. I tried doing one recently, it really is harder than it looks. I could have died. Do you know how big of a deal that would be for the YouTube game if one of the best was out for good? I couldn't imagine. Anyway, goodbye.